I think I will introduce my colleague Irina, who meanwhile has been a face of moderation this whole time, but we haven't actually presented her. She will now give the concluding remarks. She is a junior science and technology studies researcher at the Center for Social Studies from the University of Coimbra. She's also an activist of the Portuguese Stop GMO platform, so Plataforma Transgénicos Fora. Irina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lanka. First of all, I would like to thank you, Lanka, again, Professor José Luis Garcia, for this invitation and for the challenge, and to thank to all our speakers for this robust, multidisciplinary, scientific citizen analysis that they all have brought us today. And I will also like to thank to all the people that made this event possible, and particularly and special to Cristina Romanelli, who has been supporting us in the background, and without her, this would never be possible. So it's up to me to make the closing remarks, and I will try to be brief. Still, I would like to propose a sequence of ideas. I would like to start with the title of this event, evaluating the goals and the ambitions of this roundtable. I will then highlight some of the contributions made by each of our speakers, and I will then close by exposing some of the present and future challenges that were discussed here today. It is not by chance that this roundtable has the title it has. The Brave New World is a reference to Aldous Huxley dystopia social science fiction novel, or as I normally call it, his negative utopia. For those who do not know the novel, Brave New World takes place in a capitalist-based society where private property and consumption are the basis of the economy. In Brave New World, the book, there is also a lot of uniformity, particularly class uniformity, a uniformity that is kept by force of a moral vision over nature, in the case of the book, of human nature and its potentials. The lower castes are hybrids. Remember, those who know the book, remember that? Produced by a number of identical twins. And as we go up on the class structure, we come across more human versions, normally considered enhanced, genetically intellectual, perfect, and more organized. And to some extent, it sounds a little bit about what we have been talking today. But to better hold in mind the connections between Huxley's Brave New World and our debates, our Brave New World in debates today, we should keep in mind that the function of a negative utopia is to emphasize our contemporary negative tendencies. And in this sense, to organize a roundtable with such a title is also to know how to set demanding goals. And I have to say that Lanka, Professor Cristina, this was a really good decision. It was a decision that allow us today in Portugal via Zoom, but here to open this debate, to expose our concerns, who are not just legit, they are justified, and they are urgent, they are in urgent need of discussion. This debate here today opens a moment of silence or a period of silence regarding genetical engineer and new genetic techniques. As Hayek demonstrated, only 40% of the respondents to that survey have heard about new GMO techniques. So we really need to start talking about this more. And although this is an old subject for many of you in the audience and for us who have been debating this for a long time, I think we can all agree, and all our speakers have shown us today that there are important futures that come with these new techniques, such as its gene drive capacity and this new deregulation rhetoric. So I would like to I would like to highlight some of the points that I think that are fundamental from our from old contributions. Antonio has shown us today that the hype around genome editing has profound social impacts. And this is something that we forget to talk about when we talk about technologies and gene editing and so on and so forth. Antonio showed us that there is a relation between loss of jobs, decrease of small family farms, and that this has a tremendous impact on the economy of peasants. Diederik also reminded us that science has been showing that it's unpredictable. It's not predictable we cannot predict this alteration, so it's unpredictable to change an organism. And Nina has also showed that how this speculative technology it's actually being used for the profit of a set of groups and corporations. So therefore, advocating that there is a way to modify DNA that is more precise, more effective, is actually, by the examples you just gave it to us, it's ontological rejected in practice. And Diederik made a great question during his presentation. He says, you are claiming they are more safe? So are you in fact saying that maybe they are unsafe? So this is actually, it's a strategy of discussion, of argument, of exposing an argument, but Diederik is right. They have always known that these weren't safe. At the same time, it is important to highlight that the idea that there is safety around genetically modified alterations, or that there is precise, or that they are controlled or effective ways of doing this, is politically misleading the development and implementation of the solutions to our real problems, to the problems of hunger, to the problems of climate change. Eva just made it very clear by the end of her presentation. Also, Eva has pointed out that not only the new genetic techniques reinforce old unfulfilled promises, they also have not addressed their ontological problems of genome the ontological problems of genome editing. They are recycling the old use values. So when we look at the Eva and Diederik presentations, how do we justify the new gene editing techniques when we look at how they are just being built to be herbicide resistant, insecticide resistant, so keeping the old use values and keeping the old problems happening. So super weeds, herbicide tolerant crops, insect resistant crops. So none of these issues of the old GMOs is being addressed or are being addressed by the new techniques. So once again, as a civil society, we are compelled to organize ourselves and force a new, to force a serious and democratic debate around these new techniques. And I think that this round table and all your contributions are parts of a society's answer to the lack of reflexivity from those who promote and advocate for these market-oriented techniques and organisms. And I think this is where regulation comes in, as shown by Heike. Deregulation of gene editing techniques and products, it's not an option. It cannot be an option. Our discussion must be on how to improve assessment based on precautionary principles, how to protect food safety standards, and not about deregulating them. Because as shown, To deregulate new technology is a strategy to deregulate all these technologies, the old, the new, and the ones to come, the future ones. So, and we never know where these minds can take us. And this deregulation is in fact only serving the interests of the industry. And like Nina so brilliantly has demonstrated, how this industry is influencing our political agendas at national and European levels, how there are very organized ways of doing this, of lobbying, and with a lot of money, with a lot of funding, something that we don't have as a civil society, and how they are actually manipulating the discourse, how they use new communication techniques. So they are improving in the ways they communicate, the tools they use, the channels they use, the groups, the hypes that they make. And this is something that I think we need to look more in the future to understand how we can also learn from this communication strategy, that aggressive communication strategy that they are using. So in this sense, I think that at one point, we all agree there is an urgent need for an European effort to keep the old and the new and the future techniques, genetic techniques regulated. Personally, I would go forward in the demand. I will like to fight for the right to refuse them. I think Diederik approached this a little bit by the end of his presentation. It's not just about regulate and protect our food safety standards. We have to have the right to say no. We don't want them. Enough. And we can stop this process. So to conclude, we face many challenges as a society, systematic, social, economic, and environmental problems, very complex. And we know that we will never solve these systematic inequalities, these systematic problems with technological pills. We've never had, and not even in novels, so not even in Brave New World, they solved this. So yes, these technological oriented solutions presented to us are hyped in a whirlwind of industrial techno-capitalism and science, and they are not substantive solutions. Eva said they will fail, they have been failed, and they will keep failing because they need to fail to keep this engine going for the profit. I call it the satanic meal. As concerned scientists and citizens, we have gathered here today, again, to share our different knowledges, our different perspectives, our anxieties, and some of our possible solutions. And this is really important because we are bringing all our minds, experiences together. And this is probably the only way we can do this, is to be in a continuous debate and opening and shared of ideas. Not only we have debated the negative tendencies of our society and of these new techniques, we have also addressed several demanding challenges. And I would like to highlight one, the challenge for democracy, for democratic science, for democratic technologies and democratic solutions. As pointed out by our speakers, there is a contradiction between the Green New Deal policy and the policy in the new policy for food with this lobby and this deregulation. So we need to pressure our representatives. We need to pressure them nationally. We need to pressure them at the level of the European Union. Make sure that industries don't have a voice that is bigger than ours. So citizens have to be first in the line of the concerns that our representatives will listen to. So I think some solutions came up during this debate. We can pressure locally, we can pressure nationally, we can pressure at the level of the European level, we can use social media, we can join and support local groups. We can support non-GMO farming. We can support our local food chain supplies. We can go into short circuits of food commercialization. We should get into alternative food networks. So there are a lot of options that are on the table, and I hope that we can, in the next debate, approach them and explore them a little bit more. Only together we will be able to make our politicians accountable, but also our scientists accountable. So I hope that this somehow gives a summary of our debate today. And once again, I would like to thank all our speakers and to our audience. We are on our time. I hope to see you soon in many other debates. And I think Lanka, PTF, Plataforma Transgénicos Fora, is open to support any concerned citizen who have questions. You can write on our Facebook page, you can write to us. There's a lot of information. Lanka, do you want to give more on the on PTF?
Yes, I've been publishing on the chat the link to our site. I will also give you our email address. Of course, you have our Facebook page as well, which is the Plataforma Transgénicos Fora, easy to find. And there's a mailing list that you can be a part of. If you go to our site, in the homepage, you will find a way to subscribe this mailing list. And then you can receive information. We've been publishing a lot about new GMOs lately since we joined the European coalition, for which we are so grateful because they have been extremely supportive, as you can see by this excellent panel of speakers that we managed. I'm so sorry that we went over time. I hope we didn't mess up your evening too much. We're going to close now. But this conversation has only just started. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.